Welcome to Flipping Tables, where we bring all of our religious thinking to Jesus, who flips the table for his upside-down kingdom. I'm Julie Sexton, and I'll be your host. Hey friends, you are listening to episode 43, and each week I'm joined at the table by one or more co-hosts, and in this special Thanksgiving episode, I'm blessed to have both of my Flourish co-workers with me, Kimberly Daniels and Twila Brown, and this episode is going to be our Friendsgiving at the podcast table. So, speaking of Friendsgiving, do you guys know the history of Friendsgiving?
I'm not sure that mine is an accurate understanding, but I always thought of it kind of like this was the Thanksgiving that you spend with the people that you'd like to spend Thanksgiving with instead of family. These are the people, the family you choose.
The family that you choose. I like the way you say that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know when it started, though.
Yeah. I was kind of curious because I remember the first time that I think one of my daughters mentioned it, because she wanted to do it like in her senior year of high school with her youth group friends. She said, we're going to celebrate Friendsgiving. And I was like, what's Friendsgiving? And she said, it's from Friends, Mom. It's from the Friends TV show. And I said, is it? So I just went with her. But before we started this, I thought I'm going to research it and see if that's truly what happened. And so I did uncover that in January of 2020, Merriam-Webster added Friendsgiving to the dictionary. And I'm going to link a couple of articles in the show notes, but there was an article that the Atlantic magazine released in November of 2018 on kind of the history of Friendsgiving. But my favorite article came from Better Homes and Garden, and this was from October of 2022, not too long ago. And a couple of things, so we'll put that in there if you want to read it, but I'm going to kind of give you some nuggets from that article. It says that Friendsgiving increasingly became popular over the last few years, but its origins really go back to the mid-2000s. And again, like what Shelby had told me, is it tied to Friends, the TV show, or not? Because Friends was on the air from 1994 to 2004. And the thing about Friends, were you guys Friends watchers?
Yeah. Not really.
Not really.
But I would like to go ahead and take this moment and say I must have been a trailblazer because my first Friendsgiving was in 2006. So I was really out there trailblazing.
Mm-hmm. You really...
I was there at the inception of it.
You really were. You were, because in the mid-2000s, and there's like, I think there's a graph, but like in the fall of 2004 was like really kind of was when people were starting to Google it.
Yeah.
So you got in there quick.
I did. I was young though, so I was, still hip.
You were still hip. We think you're still pretty hip, so
You're the coolest of the
you're
three
the
of us.
coolest of the three of us.
Appreciate
100%. And especially to my parents, which I tease her and tell her all the time. I was like, well, according to my parents, you are the coolest person.
I do love me some Junior and Charlotte.
Yeah.
So
They're big fans of Twila Brown. So, but Friends, I was a big Friends watcher, and we watched it from the beginning to the end, I think. But I've never watched it on Netflix. Fun fact.
Really?
Never. But in those 10 seasons that it was on the air, there was always a Thanksgiving episode.
Look at that.
And so there really is kind of a connection watching a group of friends who didn't leave the city to go spend time with their family. They spend it together.
love it.
So I just think it's kind of cool.
Love it.
So what are you girls doing for Thanksgiving this week?
We're going to Indiana. We're going to go do my family. I'm hoping to get some quality time with my siblings and their spouses, leave all the kids with my mom and dad. Really, mine are the only ones that need supervision. The other ones are all old enough to be home alone. But, yeah, some time with my people. I'm excited.
That's great. Are you going to go for the whole weekend?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're doing it.
All right. Maybe some Black Friday shopping in there with your...
Probably not.
Not. I don't
Is
eat
that a
it.
thing anymore?
No.
I don't do that anymore. And
No.
did the pandemic kind of end that?
I think the internet killed it.
I mean,
it's the internet.
it needed to be
When
killed,
they started
right?
doing,
It's ugly.
I mean, I know what's in the
Well, there-
Target Black Friday ad for this year already. So
Right.
that kind of ruined it.
There's no thrill in it anymore.
No, retail killed it. Look
There
at that.
you go.
In its inception, though, it was awesome.
Oh, sure. Sure.
When it was
Back in the day?
when not very many people were doing it. I mean, I remember my mom bought me like a KitchenAid mixer, like super cheap. Like you can't buy a KitchenAid for $200 anymore. Like that's a deal.
Yeah.
And so I still have
She got a doorbuster.
Yeah, I have a Ralph Lauren comforter that we still use, a down comforter that I got practically free in one of those. So I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like good stuff. So what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Well, first of all, I know that you like to watch Friends, but I think King of the Hill has the best Thanksgiving episodes.
You watch King of the Hill?
Absolutely.
I have
I
never
would never
seen.
have never put that in
Okay,
you together.
I'll
You
send
watch King of the Hill,
You know what?
the cartoon, right?
Yes, the cartoon. It's
a cartoon.
hilarious.
I didn't even know it was a cartoon. I know nothing about this.
Obnoxious, right?
Well, when I was a child, I was led to believe it was evil, but now I love it. Maybe we should cut this out.
No. We're keeping this.
No,
this
that's
is
funny because
making-
I probably would have not thought it was evil, and now I'm kind of like, that's just not.
Okay, I'll send you a link to. Do you guys have Hulu?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send you my favorite Thanksgiving episode.
Okay.
And just like the cold opens are the funniest parts,
Okay.
you know, where they're preparing for Thanksgiving. But, you know, anyway, this year, my cousins from the Kansas City area are coming into town. And so we are having...
She just said Kansas City. Like we have to ask. Are they Chiefs fans?
They are.
Do they?
Yeah,
Do
Well,
they know Taylor?
is
Yeah, they
Taylor
might
coming
bring
to
her.
Thanksgiving because y'all are Chiefs fans?
Didn't she just buy a house there?
This might cause some controversy because I can't stand the Kansas City
That's
Chiefs.
why I brought it up, because I
It's
know
just
that about you.
Just
That's
get me all
funny.
sweaty. Yeah, they're coming. I don't know if they're playing. Who
Are there
plays-
football games on?
There are. Yes.
Thanksgiving?
Yes.
So we'll have football games on probably in the basement.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which we have a tragic. There's a trauma at Thanksgiving one year where a kid scalped himself.
Oh, Lord.
But
Did she say
maybe-
scalp?
Do we have time for this?
I know.
This is a whole nother episode.
That is a whole nother episode. Holiday trauma.
I need details.
That's going to have to be an outtake at some point. We're going to need to know more about this.
Yes. Okay. But anyway, cousins, family, we're having a whole big thing.
You
Wear a hat.
Yes.
And because we know you so well, and if people have been listening for a long time, they know you love family time. So this is going to
Yes.
be magic for you.
Yes. I just might need to sleep for 2 weeks afterwards.
You will not have time for that.
No.
I can tell you that right now. So, okay, let's talk about our signature dishes because we are the cooking podcast, sort of. Like we love buttercream frosting. We think we love half-baked harvest. We love these things. What's your signature dish?
Gosh.
Wait, I'll go first. Mine is, and I have it with me because I wanted to pull it out of.
She just
gosh.
whipped
Did you see that? Did you like that? I whipped it out
like
from
the Today
underneath
Show
the
where they
table.
give us a plate of it to eat while they talk about it, though.
Yeah,
What's
I
up
don't
with
see
that?
it.
No, I don't have it because we make it once a year because it's sweet potato casserole,
Okay. I'm here for that.
but it has a cup of sugar in it
Okay.
and a whole lot of butter
Well, it should. Yeah.
and a lot of stuff. And this kind of, because you go two ways with sweet potato casserole if you like it.
There's two schools of thought.
There's a praline kind of crunchy version, or there's marshmallows.
I will gag.
Gag over what?
The marshmallows. I was force fed sweet potatoes as a child. They came out of a can. They had the marshmallow topping on them, and I would gag. And so to this day, the smell of sweet potatoes with marshmallow, I gag. But any other sweet potato, I've learned to love.
I know you and I
I'm here for
love.
that praline.
We
I'm here
love
for
all
it.
the sweet potato stuff.
Totally. But don't put a marshmallow on it, or I will throw up.
That's really funny. Okay.
Uh-oh, get
Okay,
ready.
this is controversial now. I
No.
mean, this is going to be bad,
She's about
but
to get canceled by Twila.
I am going to be canceled by Twila. I do a version from Southern Living that uses half praline and half marshmallows, and it's really pretty because you do it on like the diagonal. You have rows of the two things, and
I wish we had video for this episode.
Of her face right now. Okay,
So
I'm
now
just
it's
gonna I'm gonna hold
no.
my recipe up and I'm gonna block her out and I'm gonna focus on you because
I got canceled.
I'm gonna beat
She
you.
flipped the table on you.
I flipped
So much
the
for
table.
Friendsgiving.
You're not canceling me. I'm canceling you first. So that's my thing, the sweet potato casserole. But I would never, and I mean never, use a canned sweet potato.
Oh, no. Yeah, I know. I learned that that's probably actually what made me gag.
That's
but,
probably what killed you.
yeah.
Because you like marshmallows and other things.
S'mores, yeah.
You like those s'mores chocolate chip cookies I make.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Some of those.
anyway, marshmallows are a little bit controversial in my family because of our semi-kosher background in our religious upbringing. We didn't eat marshmallows because of like gelatin and, you know,
You can't be eating horse hooves.
can't be eating horse hooves. Is that where gelatin really comes from, Kimberly?
I think so.
I feel like it's not even real.
I
Yikes.
think they have like vegan.
I mean,
gelatin.
marshmallows, it's not even a real thing.
I'm going to
They're
be
great, but
reading.
they're
I'm
not
going to
real.
be reading the bags because I need
Yeah.
vegan kosher marshmallows.
Yeah.
I'm dying over here.
Okay, what's your
Okay.
dish?
Okay. 2 words. Pumpkin dump.
I would show up for that.
Which, okay, so now, and you don't say cake at the end of it. It's just pumpkin dump. And it used to be that people would be like, what is that? But now dump cakes are really popular.
Yeah.
It's the easiest dessert. It's the most delicious. I could eat it all day, every day.
Yeah.
I love it. I love a pumpkin dump. Mm-hmm. It is so good. I have not made one in years, but I used to be a part of Bible Study Fellowship. And from the beginning, like maybe September, there was this one precious saint who made pumpkin dump every month for our leader fellowship.
Every month.
Every month. And when she eventually like retired and stopped doing Bible Study Fellowship, we were like, what? I don't even think I've eaten it since then. It's like I hold it. It's like my memory of Miss Judy bringing the pumpkin dump. But I think you're going to have to make me a pumpkin dump.
We're going to have the Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving for real, because
Yeah,
there's actually
for real.
like we're at a table and and I gave you warm apple caramel cider, but there's no goods.
No.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a pseudo Thanksgiving. Twila, what's your dish?
You know, I don't usually prepare Thanksgiving meals.
Stop it.
No, I don't. My sister-in-law does it or my mom does it.
Do you bring a cake?
I don't bring a cake.
What? Oh,
But I will tell you, the thing that we usually bring is a pecan pie. And since Finn was itty bitty, he always helps me make it. And when he was little, he would say capon.
Oh.
And so to this day, we call it capon pie.
The
And we
capon
bring
pie.
pecan pie.
My husband would be really
Yeah.
mad right now because he says pecan.
Oh, capon.
He's from
Tell him
South
it's capon.
Carolina.
Capon pie.
pecan.
Pecan.
It's what we take.
Yeah, that's an interesting poll. How do you say?
Well, if I wasn't calling it capon, I would call it pecan.
Pecan.
Yeah,
I
that's
say
what
pecan.
I say
Yeah.
pecan too. But yeah, I know
Capon pie.
anywhere in the South below us, it
pecan.
goes different. So, okay, I do have a question that's kind of, because Thanksgiving usually is a pie holiday. Pumpkin pie, yes or no? Real quick.
100% yes.
Well, I prefer a dump.
And for the record, I retired pumpkin pie from our Thanksgiving because the only one who liked it was my sweet Gigi, and now she's with Jesus. And she's the only one who ate the pie. And I don't like it. I make a really good one, I've been told. But last year I said, that's it. We're not having pumpkin pie anymore because I make a pumpkin pie from scratch and we throw it in the trash.
Oh, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. You shouldn't throw pie away.
No, you're wrong.
Oh,
Yeah. The pumpkin
she's
pie
taking
is-
it back. She's going to
is
cancel me
right.
now.
But you're wrong for throwing it in the trash.
Why don't I make you one of my really special ones and then you can just have it? I will gift you one
Yes, I would love it.
because I do have a good recipe. Is there going to be a Christmas tree at Thanksgiving? That's my next question.
No, for 2 reasons. One, I don't have room for it with all these people coming, so it's going to have to wait. And 2, Thanksgiving is a week like early this year. So we have a whole extra week in November. We can do it then.
Yeah.
Kimberly, the tree goes up right after Halloween.
No.
We're canceling you. We're both canceling you over that because I do it.
There's a whole army of people that are in my camp on this one, friends.
And they're
Just check
wrong.
out Facebook.
In full disclosure, my daughter said, you're not putting up the Christmas tree before Thanksgiving. And I've always done it the day after Thanksgiving. But last year, I did it a week early because we went to my in-laws for Thanksgiving. And so that was my thing. I got to put my Christmas tree up. And so when I celebrated Thanksgiving on Saturday with my family and some friends, we had the Christmas tree and the meal, and I loved it. And I was like, I came over to that side, Twila.
Thank you.
I was like, I'm never going back to not having the Christmas tree up. And Lydia said, no.
At Lydia's house, she doesn't have to have one.
So I'm letting it be her way this year.
I'm not anti before Thanksgiving, but this year I just don't have
Just
the
not
room.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, for our family, the things that make Thanksgiving Thanksgiving is definitely about the people that we're sharing the day with. I love and have loved since I was a child watching the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade. And actually, so what usually happens is I am putting the turkey in the oven, and I've got the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade on in the background while we're maybe having some kind of light breakfast because you don't want to eat too much. You just want to have some coffee and maybe something small, something high in protein to kind of counterbalance all those Thanksgiving carbs that usually make it to the Thanksgiving table. And usually after we've had the meal, the TV will be on playing in the background as people are just kind of like moving from dining room to getting a little cozy on the couch. And usually the Thanksgiving Day TV selection at our house, because we're not a football family, is usually the national dog show is playing in the background while people are playing cards or board games, maybe doing a puzzle, lots of things. So it's a real day just spent doing things that I've been doing since I was a child and sharing these traditions. Like my daughter said, I will be at your house very early on Thanksgiving morning to watch the Macy's Day Parade because neither of my daughters live with us anymore, but they want us to know that they will be here early and it will be an all-day festivity kind of day. And I love that. I love it because I love these family times. And when we think about Jesus spent a lot of time at a lot of tables. Table fellowship is a staple in a hospitality culture, and the Middle East is a hospitality culture, and it is still one of their primary cultural norms is to partake of table fellowship and just, enjoy a hospitality culture. So think about the life and ministry of Jesus and just think about how many times the text that you're reading is happening at a table, or a table is being talked about, or there's a banquet, or there's a party, or there's something in his teaching. Jesus, we know, he ate with tax collectors and sinners. And he also ate with Pharisees. He ate with his disciples. And again, as you read the Gospels, because you guys know I'm obsessed with reading the Gospels. This has been one of my traditions that I have kept about this entire year and don't see myself stopping. I'm in love with Jesus and the story of his ministry as being told in the Gospels. So my eyes land on these parables and these scenes of parties, that Jesus was at and what was going on and who was invited and what kind of little dust up happened, because a lot of dust ups happened at this, at these meals, I should say. For example, Jesus in Luke in chapter 7, which there's, of course, a meal and a banquet that happens in this chapter, but John the Baptist has died, and he's contrasting his ministry with the ministry of John the Baptist. And in regards to himself, he said, the Son of Man came eating and drinking, and you say, here's a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is proved right by all her children. Jesus was a frequent at a lot of tables. And J.R.R. Tolkien, who is the author of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, wrote, if more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world. And I love that. I love it so much. I love the Lord of the Rings. And it's one of our family traditions that the day after Thanksgiving and sometime between Thanksgiving and the New Year, we watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And it's one of my favorite family traditions that go a part of this season. I love those books. I love the movies. And I love this quote. I love it because if we valued food and cheer and song and the fun that Kimberly and Twila and I have had around our Friendsgiving table today, just laughing and teasing each other over pumpkin dump, or do you eat pumpkin pie, or do you not like pumpkin pie, or is your Christmas tree up or not? You know, just these silly kinds of conversations that we have enjoyed today. Jesus would have been in the middle of it. If he was here sitting with us at this table, he would be teasing, and maybe he likes pumpkin pie, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's like, what's a pecan pie? I've not had that. And, you know, I mean, he would probably want Kimberly to explain the pumpkin dump. What is this pumpkin dump, and how can I get a piece of that? Because Jesus was real. He was comfortable at banquets. He taught at banquets, and he was the guest that you wanted to have at your table, especially if there were people who didn't want you at their table. If you happened to be a tax collector like the disciple Matthew, or someone who had lived a sinful life and you weren't invited to sit at the main table at banquets, Jesus would have invited you to sit with him. He would have enjoyed. And if he could come to all of our houses for Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving, he would be the most fun of all the guests. And that just, I love thinking about things like this. But friends, table fellowship and hospitality are essential to Christian community. As we go into our holiday season with Friendsgiving and Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and all the Christmas parties that we're going to be going to, some with our girlfriends, some with our coworkers from work, or, you know, we're going to be planning what we're going to do on New Year's Eve. And New Year's Eve is my husband and mine anniversary. It's Twila and Stefan's anniversary. And so we're going to be at the tables enjoying one another at a lot of different events during this season. And as your sister in Christ, I want to exhort you to value the food, value the cheer, all the songs and all the traditions. Do it all with great joy. Enjoy this time with your friends and family. And you know what? Because there have been some hard things that have happened on planet Earth this year and are unfolding. And I want to say, maybe leave the politics and the wars and all the subjects, the things that divide you, from your family members and just receive the gift that God has given us through table fellowship. Make joy your highest priority. Bring the light and love of Jesus to your table. You can bring Jesus to the table with you. He's not sitting there beside you at one of the place settings asking, pass the sweet potato casserole or give me some of that pecan pie. No, he's not there, but he is in you as a follower of Christ. His kingdom is within you. And as we anticipate and pray for his kingdom to come, to the day that we will sit at a banquet with Jesus, the great wedding supper of the Lamb, to the bride, to the church, all believers will be present at, and we can't wait for that to happen. But right now, you have the opportunity to enjoy this season with your friends and your family, and you can bring light and love to your table, to everybody that is around your table or the tables that you go to. And don't forget, because this is what Jesus would do. Jesus would invite the people who are on the fringes of culture. He would invite them to our table. If you invited Jesus to your table, you could expect his band of followers, this group of misfits, this group of that was made up by fishermen and zealots and tax collectors and women and all these, they would be with him. And probably some of the people who were formerly in a sinful lifestyle, just coming with Jesus, he would bring them to the table. So don't forget to set a place at some of your tables for the people who might not have anyone to spend these holidays with. Invite them to your table. Remember those who are on the outside. Maybe they have strained family relationships. You know, Kimberly's anticipating all of her family coming to her home and celebrating Thanksgiving with her this week. But you might know people who are on the outs with their family and they don't have anyone to invite them. Pay attention, and it is not too late to invite them. And maybe you're listening to this after Thanksgiving and you're like, well, I missed that. Well, there's a lot of other opportunities through the end of the year to invite people to your table. We have 7 weeks before us until the new year. Live light to the fullest. Bring the light to all the occasions, because the light turns back the darkness. And as we're kind of wrapping up, I want to share with you a traditional Jewish liturgy. And it's this beautiful prayer. You know how we typically pray a blessing at the beginning of a meal? This is this example of a type of prayer that would be prayed at the end of a meal. So I want you to think about this. Think about when you're having one of these gatherings, maybe praying a blessing at the end of the meal. I love it. I love all things Jewish as I learn about the culture that Jesus lived in and moved about in. And sneak peek, one of my bright spot for today is going to have to do with family gatherings that we do monthly. Sorry for the spoiler alert. They're both kind of glaring at me for saying that, but just I want you guys to think about doing something like this, not just in this 7-week season, but beyond. Setting up a time of the week where you get together maybe once a month with your family, with coworkers or friends. And what would a special day would it be if at the end of one of those meals that you've shared with your family, that you say a prayer, something like this. And this is this traditional prayer. May the all-merciful one bless this table at which we have eaten and array it with the choicest foods. May it be like the table of Abraham, our father. All who are hungry may eat from it, and all who are thirsty may drink from it. I love that so much. I love that. And so please know that in my future family gatherings that happen in 2024, this is something that I want to make a part of it. At the end of that meal that we've enjoyed together, maybe had a special, loaf of bread or something, and we've eaten and taken this meal in leisurely with all kinds of chatter and all kinds of things all over the place. If you're in a group of primary believers, you could possibly even bring a favorite verse that you've read or a passage of scripture and read it and kind of discuss it at that meal. You can't do that at every table, but if you have that option, I think it would be a wonderful thing to incorporate. It's something that I do. I've mentioned before that I have a Wednesday night Bible study that meets in my home, and I cook a meal for them. And usually before we get into the study, we sit together and we eat and we chatter and discuss things about the week. But I'm always looking for opportunities that I can bring in a nugget of something that we've studied and kind of introduce that into the conversation. And I'm actually going to be hosting one of those events tonight in my house, and I am going to invite my friends to talk about the passage that we've studied this week. And then I'm going to, before we leave that table and move into another room where we're going to open our Bibles together, I want to pray a blessing over them. And I think you can do this. I'm just giving you some ideas because I want to bring hospitality back. I think hospitality has had a rough go, even before COVID, before we started, withdrawing and isolating ourselves. So I just want to remind you of the gift of hospitality and the gift of table fellowship. And I thought the week of Thanksgiving and right before this season would be a good time to plant some seeds for you to think about things that you can do in 2024 to make hospitality something that you are practicing on a regular, hopefully monthly basis. Because I think that J.R.R. Tolkien would approve of that. And I know more than that, we don't live to please men. We live to please our Father in heaven. And I can promise you, if you make room for people at your table and increase the level of hospitality that's happening in your midst, your Father in heaven, he will be so pleased. I can just picture the Trinity sharing a collective smile filled with anticipation for the day that all God's children sit together at that great banquet table. But in the present, they will share a smile over their children who are acting very Christ-like, making table fellowship a priority.
Well, of course, we always like to wrap up with a bright spot. And I thought that since we are in the season of Thanksgiving, that maybe we could focus our bright spots on something that we have been grateful for, maybe some kind of theme throughout this year of your life or the season that you're in. I know for me, I feel like God has put a lot of different kind of like dreams and visions and desires into my heart. And he has really strategically aligned me in a place with friendships and relationships that are kind of the key component pieces that I need to bring some of these ideas to life. And so I'm really thankful for just the way that he has strategically placed me in this season of my life to be able to take steps toward kind of putting some of these dreams into action and bringing them to life.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Love it.
Well, I think about this past year and I'm just all these visions of memories of family get-togethers are coming to my mind. You know, my brother, who used to live in a different part of the country, is back in Lexington. And I've mentioned before that my grandmother, my aunt, who also lived in a different part of the country, lived with my parents. And so we've been able to have like big get-togethers, which growing up we just didn't have because we always lived so far away from everybody. And this year, my cousins are coming into town, and so we're having a big Thanksgiving. And just, like I said, thinking over the past year of just all of the great celebrations, birthdays, and holidays that we've been able to gather around a table and just spend quality time together.
That's awesome.
I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with one that's very similar to Kimberly's because we have a tradition that's been going on for a couple of years, but I think my daughter Shelby is the one who kind of spearheaded this move that we would get together for a family night once a month with my parents and my brother. And that's something that we look forward to. But I will say there were a couple of months at the end of the summer that we didn't get to do it. And she missed it so much that my parents were on a vacation, and she said, we haven't had family night in months, and we're going to have one at your house, Mom and Dad, on Sunday afternoon. And we're going to play croquet, and we're going to play cornhole, and Mom's going to cook something amazing. And that's what we did. It was amazing. Paul had to go buy a new croquet set because we had lost some of the pieces. We didn't want to spoil her dream because she had organized it. And so he ran to a store and bought one. And he had built new cornhole tables or boards or whatever you call them. But we just had the best time doing
Sweet.
that. And I just, because it means so much to her, these family nights, and when we hadn't had one for a couple of months. And so, we're in this going into this holiday season this week with starting off with Thanksgiving, and this has been our Friendsgiving kind of episode, and we're anticipating all these great holidays and times to be together with family and with friends. And so, friends, I hope that your season is filled with joyous gatherings and that you are praising the Lord and enjoying being together. Because it's been a little bit of a heavy year, and these family times are going to mean so much to boosting our, just our outlook. So as you go about this season, keep following the table flipper and leave the table flipping to Jesus, especially in light of it being a holiday season. Don't flip tables. So let Jesus flip the tables.